You've been practicing manifestation all wrong. And I don't mean that you need more techniques or better methods. I mean the entire foundation you've been building on is inverted. Most people spend months, sometimes years, trying to bring their desires into reality, never understanding why the gap between wanting and having feels so immovably vast. Here's what they don't tell you. The delay isn't coming from the universe. It's coming from you. Not because you're broken or doing something incorrectly, but because you've been taught to approach manifestation as if it's a process that happens over time. And that single belief is what keeps you locked in the waiting room. The popular approach to manifestation sounds intelligent on the surface. Think about what you want long enough. Visualize it with enough detail. Feel it deeply enough. Repeat your affirmations with enough consistency, and somewhere down the line, reality will shift to match your vision. It feels empowering. It feels spiritual. It feels like you're taking control of your life. But underneath that framework lies a trap so subtle that most never see it. Every time you engage with manifestation as something you need to do in order to get something, you're unconsciously broadcasting a message to the quantum field. I don't have this yet. I am separate from it. I need time to close the distance. And the field responds with precision. It doesn't give you what you want. It gives you what you are. And if what you are is someone who believes they're still waiting, still becoming, still working towards something that hasn't arrived, then the field delivers more of that experience. More waiting, more becoming, more working toward. The manifestation teachings that tell you to trust divine timing or be patient with the universe aren't wrong because they're malicious. They're incomplete because they reinforce the illusion that time is the bridge between you and your desire. But here's the quantum truth. Time isn't a bridge. Time is a reflection. It mirrors back the frequency you're stabilizing in this moment. Not the frequency you hope to reach. Not the frequency you're visualizing. The frequency you are embodying right now. This is why so many people feel stuck in manifestation limbo. They're pouring energy into techniques that assume reality is something outside of them, something that needs to be convinced, coaxed, or attracted. But the quantum field doesn't work through attraction. It works through collapse. And collapse doesn't happen over time. It happens in alignment. The moment your internal state becomes identical to the reality you're calling in, the external world has no choice but to reorganize itself around that frequency. Not because you've earned it through effort, but because coherence is the law of the field. When your vibration stabilizes, reality stabilizes around it, instantly. But most people never stabilize. They oscillate. One moment they're in the feeling of having it. The next they're checking to see if it's arrived yet. One moment they're affirming abundance. The next they're anxious about their bank account. One moment they trust the process. The next they're questioning whether any of this even works. And that oscillation, that split signal, is what creates delay. Not because the universe is slow, but because you keep changing the frequency you're asking it to match. The field is trying to respond to you, but you're not giving it a clear signal. You're broadcasting static. And here's what makes this even more crucial to understand. The field doesn't distinguish between your conscious desires and your subconscious expectations. It responds to the totality of your signal. So you might be consciously affirming success while unconsciously expecting failure. You might be consciously visualizing love while unconsciously bracing for abandonment. You might be consciously declaring abundance while unconsciously reinforcing scarcity through every small decision you make. The field reads all of it, and it responds to what's dominant, not what's declared. If this understanding is shifting something in you, take a moment to like this video and subscribe to the channel. Now let's go deeper. This is why so many manifestation practices feel like they're not working. Because people are focused on the conscious layer, the affirmations, the visualizations, the rituals, while completely ignoring the subconscious broadcast that's running 24 hours a day. Your subconscious is shaped by your habits, your reactions, your automatic responses, your nervous system's default state. And if those aren't aligned with what you're consciously trying to manifest, you're sending mixed signals. You're asking the field to collapse two different realities at once. And when that happens, what you get is confusion, delay, and the experience of almost that never quite becomes arrived. So the shift you're looking for isn't about learning new manifestation methods. It's about understanding that you're not here to attract your desires. You're here to collapse into the timeline where they already exist. And that collapse doesn't require time. It requires clarity. It requires you to stop reinforcing the version of yourself who is still in pursuit and start embodying the version who has already arrived. Because when you embody the frequency of having, not wanting, the field doesn't delay. It mirrors, and it mirrors fast. Here's where everything inverts. You've been taught to see reality as something solid, something that unfolds according to laws and patterns and timelines. But quantum physics reveals something far stranger and far more empowering. Reality isn't unfolding, it's collapsing. Moment by moment, possibility by possibility, your consciousness is selecting one version of reality out of infinite potential and making it real. Not through force, not through strategy, through resonance. The quantum field isn't a machine you operate. It's a mirror you activate. And what it reflects isn't your thoughts, your wishes, or your visualizations. It reflects your state. The energetic signal you're broadcasting beneath all the mental noise. This is the part that changes everything. The field doesn't wait for you to be ready. It collapses based on what you're observing. And observation, in the quantum sense, isn't about looking outward for evidence. It's about being. The frequency you stabilize internally becomes the reality you experience externally. This is why your timeline feels fluid. You're not moving through a fixed reality like a passenger on a train. You're collapsing probabilities like a conductor choosing which track to take. Every emotion you feel, every belief you hold, every subtle vibration your nervous system emits is making a choice. And that choice isn't happening in your future. It's happening now. Most people treat reality like it's something rigid, something they have to push against or work within. They say things like, "I'm building toward it," or "it's on its way." But what's really happening is they're observing a version of themselves that doesn't have it yet. And every time they do, they lock that version in place. They reinforce the gap. They tell the field, "This is who I am," someone who's still waiting. And the field, being perfectly neutral, says, "Understood." Here's more waiting. You're not waiting for reality to catch up to your desires. Reality is waiting for your frequency to stop contradicting them. The moment your frequency stabilizes, the quantum shortcut activates, because nothing in the field is actually far away. Everything exists right now as overlapping possibilities. The version of you living your dream life isn't somewhere in the future. It's here, vibrating at a different frequency, and the moment you match that frequency, you collapse into it. Not gradually, instantly. This isn't metaphor. This is physics. In quantum experiments, particles exist in superposition, multiple states at once until they're observed. And the act of observation collapses them into one state. The observer affects the outcome, and you are the observer of your reality. But here's what most people do. They observe with fear. They observe with doubt. They observe with expectation of disappointment. And fear is a powerful observer. It's focused, repetitive, charged with energy. So the field responds to it with precision. It collapses danger, scarcity, delay. Not because you're being punished, but because the field is obeying your dominant frequency. You're not manifesting what you desire. You're manifesting what you're certain of. And if you're certain that things are hard, that change takes time, that you're not ready, then the field will give you evidence of exactly that. The shortcut is this. Stop observing from the frequency of lack. Start observing from the frequency of completion. Because the field doesn't respond to what you want. It responds to what you are. To use this shortcut, you have to become an observer who doesn't need proof. You observe from knowing, not from hoping. There's a difference between aligned vision and wishful projection. Wishful projection says, I hope this works. I hope it comes soon. I hope I'm doing it right. Aligned vision says nothing. It simply knows. It feels complete. It feels grounded. It feels inevitable. It doesn't scan the environment for signs. It doesn't ask when. It doesn't waver when the external hasn't shifted yet. It holds the frequency of already. And that knowing creates what physicists call a collapse. The wave becomes particle. Potential becomes form. The invisible becomes visible. This is what makes quantum manifestation not just faster than traditional methods, but outside of time entirely. Because the moment you stop operating from the logic of time-based manifestation and start operating from the space of frequency alignment, the universe stops delaying. It reflects immediately, and if it doesn't feel immediate to you yet, it's not because the field is slow. It's because your signal is inconsistent. You're broadcasting the frequency of I have it one moment, and where is it the next? And the field can only mirror what's dominant. So your task isn't to make reality move faster. Your task is to become singular in your frequency, to become so clear in your energetic identity that there's no alternative reality the field can collapse except the one you've chosen. And here's how you reach that singularity. Not by thinking your way into it, but by feeling your way into it. Fully, vividly, repeatedly, until your body believes it's already real, until your breath reflects it, until your choices flow from it, until embodiment replaces effort. Because when you stop waiting, things stop taking time. And in that moment, you're no longer walking toward your future. You collapse into it. Now let's talk about something that most manifestation teachers completely overlook: the role of neutrality in collapse. You've probably heard a lot about high vibe energy, about feeling excited, about getting into the frequency of joy and gratitude. And yes, those states are powerful. But there's something even more powerful that rarely gets discussed. Neutrality. Not the neutrality of indifference or apathy, but the neutrality of complete trust. The kind of neutrality that says, it's already done. There's nothing to chase. There's nothing to prove. There's nothing to force. This is the frequency of the observer who has moved beyond hoping into knowing. When you're in high excitement states, you're often still broadcasting a subtle signal of, I need this to happen. There's an urgency underneath the joy, a grasping underneath the gratitude, and the field picks up on that. It reads the grasping as lack. But when you drop into neutrality, into that quiet knowing that everything is already handled, the field receives a completely different signal. It receives certainty. And certainty is magnetic in a way that excitement can never be. Because certainty doesn't need anything, it simply is. And when you are certain, the field collapses around that certainty without resistance. This is why some of the most powerful manifestations happen when you've completely let go, when you've stopped trying, when you've released the outcome and moved into a state of peace. Because in that state, you're no longer contradicting yourself. You're no longer split between wanting and having. You're simply being. And being is the most coherent frequency there is. This doesn't mean you stop caring about your desires. It means you stop making them conditional for your peace. You stop making them proof of your worth. You stop making them the reason you're allowed to feel good. You feel good first. You stabilize in peace first. And from that foundation, the desires collapse naturally, effortlessly, inevitably. If thinking alone could shift reality, your life would already mirror every vision board you've made. You've imagined the outcome 1,000 times. You've repeated the affirmations. You've written it down. You've seen it clearly in your mind. And yet, for so many, the changes remain slow, subtle, or entirely absent. This isn't because you're doing it wrong. It's because the mechanism of manifestation was misunderstood from the beginning. The power isn't in the thought. The power is in the frequency beneath the thought. And that frequency is generated by emotion. The quantum field doesn't interpret words. It doesn't read affirmations. It doesn't decode visualizations. It responds to energetic coherence, and that coherence is created by emotion. Not surface-level emotion, not performed emotion, but the consistent emotional tone that hums in the background of your being, whether you're consciously focusing on your desire or not. This is the mechanism that most manifestation teachings ignore. The field doesn't respond to your conscious intention. It responds to your dominant emotional state. You can journal about abundance every morning, but if the rest of your day is soaked in anxiety, the field will mirror anxiety. You can meditate on love, but if your nervous system is braced for rejection, the field will reinforce that expectation. This isn't punishment, it's precision. The quantum field is flawless in its accuracy. It reflects what you're broadcasting, not what you're requesting. And what you're broadcasting, moment to moment, is emotional. This is why transformation accelerates when you prioritize feeling overthinking. Because emotion is the carrier wave. It's the signal that imprints your reality. Thoughts may set direction, but emotion provides the voltage. Without voltage, there's no signal. Without signal, there's no collapse. The key isn't to think more positively. The key is to feel more clearly. Because your body doesn't wait for external proof. It responds immediately to internal instruction. And emotion is the most potent instruction you can give. This is why a single moment of genuine gratitude can collapse more reality than weeks of mental repetition. This is why a breath taken in full trust can unlock timelines that effort could never access. Emotion is the language the field understands. But here's the part most people miss entirely. Emotion isn't a reaction. It's a choice. It's not something that only happens after you receive what you want. It's something you generate before. Not as pretending, not as manipulation, but as signal, as declaration, as the vibrational signature of the version of you who already lives in the reality you're calling in. Pause here and share in the comments. What emotion are you choosing to generate before the evidence arrives? What frequency are you stabilizing as your new baseline? Because that version doesn't just think differently, they feel differently. Their nervous system is calm, their chest is open, their voice is steady, their frequency is stable. Not because their environment created that state, but because they chose to align with the feeling first. And this is where speed comes from. Manifestation becomes slow when emotion is conditional. When you say, "I'll feel abundant after the money arrives," or "I'll feel loved once the person shows up," you're placing your signal downstream from reality. But in quantum manifestation, the signal comes first. The collapse follows. So the question isn't, "What do I want?" The question is, what emotion matches that reality? And am I willing to generate it now, without condition? This doesn't mean faking it. It means practicing emotional alignment. It means shifting your breath, regulating your heart rate, moving your body with the confidence of someone who trusts the process, speaking as though it's already done. Not because you're forcing belief, but because you've released the doubt. And that release isn't weakness, it's power. Because in the absence of emotional interference, the field can finally respond without static. This is why people who know nothing about manifestation often manifest effortlessly, because they feel safe, they feel open, they feel expectant. Their nervous system is aligned, their signal is clean. They're not trying to manifest, they're simply being. And being, when emotionally coherent, is the fastest form of creation. But this speed isn't about intensity, it's about consistency. You don't need to feel joy at maximum volume all day. You simply need to return to the emotion of your desired timeline more often than you return to fear. And every time you do, you reinforce the signal. You instruct your subconscious. You train your field. You attune your vibration. And eventually, you hit the tipping point. The emotion becomes your baseline. And the field responds with new circumstances, new synchronicities, new opportunities, new physical reflections of your internal shift. And you realize it was never about doing more. It was about feeling differently first, faster, deeper. Because emotion bypasses logic. It rewires neural pathways. It creates coherence between heart and mind. And coherence, not concentration, is what makes manifestation immediate. So if you want speed, release the spreadsheet of techniques. Release the obsession with timeline. Release the question of, how long will this take? Ask instead, how fully can I feel this now? Because the moment your emotion matches the memory of your desired future, the field can't distinguish between the two. And when the field can't distinguish, reality collapses without delay. Now, what we've explored so far is the foundation, the quantum mechanics of how reality collapses in response to your frequency. But becoming the observer who collapses from knowing rather than hoping requires understanding the complete architecture of conscious transmission. In my book, Beyond the Frequencies, A Quantum Guide to Consciousness Mastery, I guide you through the 9 master frequencies that move you from unconscious broadcasting to becoming the field itself, from survival static to the silent frequency where collapse happens before intention even forms. It's linked in the pinned comment below. Your body isn't a passive observer in the manifestation process. It's not the container where your thoughts happen to live. Your body is the primary transmitter. It is the antenna broadcasting your frequency to the field. It is the loudest signal you're sending. And until your body believes what your mind envisions, there is no signal coherent enough for the field to respond to. This is why some people do everything right on paper. They journal, they visualize, they affirm, they set intentions, and still feel like nothing is moving. Because beneath all those practices, their nervous system is still running the old program. Their posture still reflects uncertainty. Their breath still carries tension. Their movements still echo hesitation. And the field doesn't listen to what you're saying. It listens to what you're embodying. The field responds faster to embodiment than to any thought, any visualization, any affirmation. Your desired timeline isn't something you move toward through time. It's something you step into through vibration. You become the version of yourself who already inhabits that reality. And that version doesn't exist in your mind. It exists in your spine, in your breath, in your heartbeat, in your biochemistry. It's a full-body transmission. And when that transmission is clean, the shift happens faster than logic can track, faster than doubt can interfere, faster than strategy can map out. But embodiment isn't about performance. It's not about acting confident until you feel confident. It's about feeling it so deeply that it becomes real in your body before it becomes real in your world. Not out there in the future, but in here, in your cells, in your tone of voice, in the way you stand, sit, walk, breathe. Because the moment your body starts behaving as if the future is now, the field starts collapsing that version into form. This isn't wishful thinking. This is entrainment. In physics, when two oscillating systems come into contact, the one with the stronger, more stable frequency pulls the other into sync. This is exactly what happens when you embody your chosen timeline. You become the dominant frequency, and your external reality, which is always listening, begins reorganizing to match. But here's the trap most people fall into. They're waiting for external permission. They want to feel successful after the business succeeds. They want to feel loved after someone chooses them. They want to feel free after the money shows up. And so their body stays loyal to the past. Their timeline stays anchored in absence. Their field reflects what's familiar instead of what's possible. The shift happens when you reverse the equation. Feel it now, and let the external follow. This is not delusion. This is instruction. You're instructing the field with every signal you broadcast. When you relax into peace before the evidence appears, you're collapsing a reality where peace isn't dependent on conditions. When you open your chest and breathe as though everything is already working in your favor, you're signaling to the field, this is already true for me. When you move with certainty, you collapse uncertainty. When you act from fulfillment, you dissolve the waiting room of when. Embodiment is the end of hoping. It's the end of performance. It's the beginning of vibrational integrity. Because when your actions reflect your beliefs without contradiction, the speed at which reality bends is startling. You stop needing to chase anything. You notice the version of you who was always striving is no longer present. And in that absence, space opens for something new. That something isn't found in your thoughts. It's found in your body. The way you rise in the morning. The way you occupy space. The way you say yes without flinching. The way you hold yourself, not with arrogance, but with quiet knowing. Because you're no longer trying to manifest the timeline. You're living it. And every second your body remains in that state, your field stabilizes, your magnetism strengthens, the delay dissolves, and the gap between inner and outer collapses at remarkable speed. And here's something profound about embodiment that rarely gets mentioned. Your body remembers futures, not just pasts. When you step into the emotional and physical state of your desired reality, your body begins storing that as memory. And the more you return to that state, the more your body recognizes it as familiar, as known, as home. And once your body recognizes a state as home, it stops resisting it. It stops questioning it. It starts moving toward it automatically. This is why consistent embodiment practice is so powerful. You're not just telling your mind what you want. You're teaching your body what's real. And your body is far more powerful than your mind when it comes to collapsing reality. Your nervous system is constantly scanning for safety, for familiarity, for what it knows. And if what it knows is struggle, uncertainty, and lack, that's what it will keep creating. But if you train it to recognize abundance, peace, and fulfillment as familiar, as safe, as home, then that's what it will create. Your body will start making choices from that place. Your energy will start broadcasting from that place. Your entire being will start operating from that place. And the field will have no choice but to mirror it back. So here's your checkpoint. Not for the algorithm, but for yourself. Take a moment and comment below with this phrase. Speed is a state of being. Say it as code, as reminder, as declaration. That what collapses reality isn't your effort, your hours, or your affirmations. It's the energy you embody in this exact moment. Because this moment is the manifestation. And if you can feel it now, it's already here. You've been conditioned to think of manifestation as moving forward, as though you're always traveling towards something that exists ahead of you in time, something that must be earned, summoned, or pulled into your life through effort. But in quantum reality, that's the exact opposite of what's happening. You're not walking toward your future. Your future is collapsing into you. And once you understand this, everything shifts. Because the future doesn't need your effort. It doesn't need your constant mental rehearsals. What it needs is resonance. A vibrational match so clear that the timeline you're calling in has no choice but to pull you toward itself. It functions like gravity, not something you generate, but something you align with. The future version of you who already has everything you desire isn't ahead of you in linear time. It's surrounding you in potential. And the moment your frequency aligns with that version, you feel it. Not as thought, but as sensation. A shift not in the outer world, but in your inner compass. You're not chasing anymore. You're being pulled. This is what I call reverse manifestation. Not because it goes backward, but because it flips the illusion of control. It shows you that the fastest path to your future isn't force. It's surrender. It's not projection. It's presence. It's not desire. It's identity. Imagine this. There is a version of you that already exists, inhabiting the exact reality you've been working to create. That version breathes differently, walks differently, thinks from completion, feels from peace, decides from certainty, and that version is constantly broadcasting a signal, always searching for resonance. The moment you stop broadcasting the noise of fear, scarcity, and striving, that signal becomes audible. You feel the pull, not as concept, but as embodied nudge, a magnetic intelligence guiding you gently but unmistakably toward people, places, decisions, and synchronicities you couldn't have planned. You're no longer creating the path. You're aligning with the pull of a timeline that's already been laid out in the invisible, one that's been waiting for you to match its frequency. And when the pull begins, it feels both surreal and natural. Surreal because the logic of time and strategy starts dissolving. Things happen without obvious cause. Connections appear without effort. Insights arrive without analysis. Yet it also feels obvious, like remembering something you've always known. A sense of course, this is how it works. Because on some level, you've always known that reality responds to frequency, not force. But most people never feel the pull. Why? Because they never stop pushing. They're so consumed with trying to make the future happen that they drown out the very signal that would guide them there. They fill silence with tactics. They clutter the field with rituals. They obsess over timelines, metrics, signs, never realizing they're anchoring themselves to the very version of reality they're trying to escape. You can't feel the future when you're addicted to the noise of the past. You can't be pulled into your highest timeline when your identity is still tangled with the one who isn't ready. The moment you choose emotional neutrality, not excitement, not hope, but peace, the gravitational pull of your future activates. Because peace is the signature of embodiment. It tells the field, I'm no longer trying, and that is the most magnetic state you can offer. This is the paradox of acceleration. The faster you want it, the stiller you must become. Because motion doesn't create collapse, coherence does. And coherence is a stillness that vibrates beneath the surface. A knowing so rooted it doesn't flinch, doesn't chase, doesn't grasp. It simply receives the pull and responds with quiet authority. And yes, this will require decisions that don't make logical sense. You'll feel compelled to stop doing something that used to seem important. You'll feel drawn to move, to speak, to say yes to something you can't explain. This isn't chaos, it's alignment. You're being guided not by preference, but by resonance. You'll start noticing a new rhythm. Time feels softer. Synchronicities multiply. People appear with messages they didn't know you needed. Paths open where walls once stood. You're no longer pushing to reach your future. You're responding to its pull. And in that response, you collapse timelines that would have taken years to navigate through strategy alone. This is the frequency of inevitability. It isn't loud. It isn't dramatic. It's subtle, precise, undeniable. And once you experience this level of alignment, you'll never fall for the old model of trying harder. Because now you understand. The moment you release your identity as the one who's waiting, you embody the one who's being chosen by the future. Not because you deserve it, but because you match it. And when you match the future, it arrives faster than thought allows. There's a moment no one can predict, not precisely. A moment that doesn't arrive after the 20th visualization or the 100th affirmation. It doesn't announce itself with drama or fanfare. It often arrives in silence, quiet, unexpected, almost unnoticed, until suddenly everything has changed. This is the collapse moment, the point where wave becomes particle, where the invisible becomes visible, where the version of you that was once only a feeling becomes the world you inhabit. It happens faster than logic permits, because it doesn't follow logic. It follows frequency. And when your frequency stabilizes long enough, clearly enough, the field has no choice but to obey. Not because you've earned it through time and effort, not because the stars aligned in your favor, but because you stopped contradicting what you asked for. You stopped vibrating as the one who's waiting. You became the one who remembers. This moment, when it arrives, often catches people completely off guard. You wake up one day and realize the desire is no longer active. Not because it vanished, but because it already happened on a level deeper than time can measure. And now reality is simply catching up to your coherence. What once felt distant now feels obvious, natural, familiar, as if it had always been there. This is the true speed of quantum manifestation. It doesn't arrive gradually. It arrives fully formed, but only when your internal landscape is ready to hold it. And this readiness isn't about doing more. It's about becoming less contradictory, less entangled in timelines of almost, less addicted to hoping, less identified with the version of you who had to fight for every breakthrough. When those distortions fall away, what remains is inevitable alignment. And alignment doesn't wait. It doesn't delay. It doesn't ask permission. The moment you're coherent, the moment your body, breath, emotion, and awareness are all broadcasting the same message, the field collapses. Fast, sometimes instantly, often unpredictably, but always with precision. And when it does, you'll feel it. The craving stops being a craving. The future stops being a goal. And the need for control disappears. Not because you've given up, but because you finally feel chosen by the moment. You've become the receiver, not the seeker. And what you were once trying to manifest becomes simply your new normal. But don't mistake this for an ending. Collapse isn't the conclusion, it's the doorway. Because what collapses isn't just a reality, it's an identity. And what emerges is an entirely new field of possibility, one that requires a new level of awareness, a new relationship with your own frequency. You're no longer walking a predetermined path. You're writing it in real time. And this is why integration matters so deeply. Because the collapse moment is powerful, but maintaining coherence after the shift is what determines whether this new timeline becomes permanent or temporary, whether it expands or contracts back into the old pattern. Now here's something most people don't realize about the collapse moment. The strangeness is the proof. When reality starts bending in ways that don't make linear sense, when synchronicities multiply beyond coincidence, when things align so perfectly it almost feels eerie, that's not random. That's confirmation. The field is responding. Your frequency has locked in, and the external is reorganizing to match the internal. Most people dismiss these moments as luck or coincidence because they don't understand that strangeness is the signature of quantum collapse. When you're operating from aligned frequency, reality doesn't just shift. It shifts in ways that defy conventional explanation. Doors open that shouldn't have been there. People reach out at the exact moment you needed them. Resources appear from unexpected sources, and the timing feels too perfect to be chance. That's because it isn't chance. It's coherence. The field is collapsing probabilities in your favor because your signal is clear, stable, and singular. Let me give you a framework for recognizing when you've crossed into quantum collapse. First, you'll notice that effort becomes effortless. Things that used to require pushing suddenly start flowing. Opportunities that you would have had to chase start chasing you. Decisions that used to feel heavy start feeling obvious. This isn't because external circumstances suddenly became easier. It's because your frequency aligned with a timeline where ease is natural. Second, you'll notice that time feels different. Not slower or faster necessarily, but less linear. You'll find yourself in the right place at the right time without planning it. You'll think of someone and they'll reach out moments later. You'll need something and it will appear before you even ask. This is the field collapsing time in response to your coherence. Third, you'll notice resistance dissolving. Not because you're fighting it, but because it simply stops appearing. The obstacles that used to block your path aren't there anymore. The people who used to create friction either shift their energy or exit your reality entirely. The circumstances that used to limit you start rearranging themselves. Again, this isn't luck. This is what happens when you stop energizing the timeline where resistance exists. And fourth, you'll notice that your inner state becomes independent of outer circumstances. You feel peaceful regardless of what's happening around you. You feel abundant regardless of what's in your bank account. You feel loved regardless of your relationship status. This is the ultimate sign that you've stabilized in the new frequency, because when your state is no longer conditional, the field has nothing to contradict. It can only mirror your stability. I invite you to re-watch this video daily, perhaps each morning as you set your frequency for the day. And if someone comes to mind while watching, someone who's been searching for this understanding, share it with them. When you share quantum consciousness principles, you create an energetic ripple that reinforces your own coherence while opening pathways for collective awakening. The act of sharing becomes part of your own frequency stabilization. So when the strange starts happening, don't question it. Don't analyze it. Don't try to figure out how or why. Simply receive it. Because that strangeness is the field speaking back to you, confirming that you've shifted timelines. And the more you trust it, the more it amplifies. This is integration in action. You're learning to live in the new frequency without pulling yourself back into the old one through doubt, overthinking, or self-sabotage. You're learning to let the collapse be permanent. And if this conversation is touching something in you, if you feel the resonance of these words, not just intellectually, but in your body, then I invite you to subscribe. Not just to this channel, but to this frequency. To this space where consciousness and quantum reality intersect, where transformation isn't theory, but lived experience. Because the more of us who stabilize in this frequency, the more the collective field shifts. The more the world reflects this truth back to all of us. You're not starting a journey. You're continuing a transformation that's already happening. And if you feel the pull, follow it. Because the collapse moment doesn't wait. And neither does the version of you who's already living in the reality you've been calling in. Before we close, drop one word in the comments. One word that captures the energy, the intention, the transformation you're choosing right now. Let it be your energetic signature to the quantum field. Your declaration. Your frequency made visible. And subscribe not just to stay connected, but to stay coherent, to stay aligned, to stay elevated. Because the more of us who embody this truth, the more the world reflects it back. And that reflection, that collective shift, is what changes everything. Now, understanding quantum collapse is one thing, but recognizing when you're ready to fully step into it is another. What you've learned here about frequency and manifestation connects directly to a deeper recognition that's already awakening within you. Watch the moment you watch this, your old self begins to collapse. Next, because it reveals the precise signs that your transformation has already begun, and why resisting it only delays the inevitable alignment you're being pulled toward.